What is up, guys? Darsh here, and today I'm going to be going over primitive data types and any other main data type in general within Java. And data types, basically, they hold a certain amount of data, and each one of the data types have their own unique properties that makes each one beneficial over the others. So let's get started with making a integer data types. So let's start with a byte. So basically, a byte is the smallest of all the data types. They hold 8 bits, their size, and they hold numbers from negative 128 to 127. And the reason why these are very useful is because if you have very small numbers, in machines back in the day, right now it doesn't really matter if I make numbers, but they help save a lot of memory because they're only 8 bytes long, so compared to their counterparts, which are much larger. So just to make one, to create our first data type, we just do byte, and you want to give that a name. In this case, we'll just do B. But normally, if you're making a real program, you want to be as specific as possible. In this case, we don't have any goal, we're just learning right now. And it can only have a number between 128 and negative 127, so there is a limit. So we're just going to do the max, 128. And we want to print this out, right? Oh, okay, so it can't be 128. The max is 128, so I guess we'll go a little under 127. Right, and then you just want to print this out. So you want to print out B, and it just prints it out as a number. It's 127. So in that case, we did try a number that was out of bounds. It'd say, it already knows there's an error, but in case we launch it, it just says, cannot convert int into byte. And int is another data type that I'll be talking about after this one. So we change that to 127, which is the max. Okay, so the next data type we're going to go over is a short. A short also holds numbers. In this case, it holds more numbers than a byte because it's 16-bit, and it goes to all the way to 2 to the power of 15 minus 1. So whatever that number would be. In this case, we're just going to do int or short s equals, and you want to give this a number also, so we're just going to do a pretty big number. Too big. We're just going to do 9999. And basically, this holds more than a byte. It holds to the power 15 minus 1. So after that, these since these are all like whole numbers, they can't hold any decimals either. So if I do try to do 0.0 or something, it doesn't work. And those are our other data types that I'll mention later. These can also go negative, so you can do negative 999, and that does compile. Alright, so the next one is the most popular one that everyone uses, which are ints, which, as the name sounds, it stands for integers. These are also integers, but these aren't the main ones, so this one gets the special name. These are 64-bit, meaning they hold more than the previous one, the shorts. These hold 2 to the power of 31 minus 1. So in this case, that would be a pretty large number, so int I equals, in this case, let's just do 19999. And that does compile, so system out println I. In this case, it will print out that number. Next one that I'm going to go over is the largest integer numbers that you can have. And that is a long. So you just initialize it like normally, so long L equals, in this case we're going to make it even larger than an int, so we're going to go up to that. And then we do sysout L, and that compiles also. Right, now, after we get to here, what if we want decimals, right? So that's where these two data types come in, a float and a double. So each one of these, a float is a smaller version of a double, similar like a short and an int. So a float can only store up to 2 to the power 149, and it also goes into decimal places also. So float f equals 5.5, and when you're making a float, you also have to always put f here to classify it as a float as opposed to a double. That's just how it works. Yeah, so you want to print this out, you use this out f, and it prints out the floating point number. Next one we have is, why did I copy that? A double. These are the most popular, or most used decimal point numbers, and these are double D equals, 999.999. And if I print that out, it does print out the decimal places. And you can also use integers within doubles. Those work by, and since it is a double, it always adds a 0.0 decimal place mark. And doubles are 64-bit, and floats are 32-bit. Next are Booleans, which are pretty simple. They are just true or false, and those are very useful when you're checking certain conditions, such as, for example, if the light is green is equal to true, then continue, So they help for, conditional statements, such as if statements and else, and I'll be explaining those later in my other tutorials. So basically, you want to give it a name also. Since we already have something called B, you can't do B because that's already referenced. So you'll just call it BO. And you want to set that equal to either true or false. You can't put any numbers, you can't put 0, you can't put 1. It has to be either true or false. In this case, we're going to do true. And when you print that out, it does, true. Excuse me about that. The next, the actual primitive data type is a char, and char stands for, as the name thinks, characters. And the way char works is you can only store one character within it. So a char c equals, and to make one, rather than having, without having any quotation marks or any parentheses or anything like the other ones, you have to use a apostrophe or 2 apostrophes. And within that, you have to put your char. This is because Java doesn't know if you're talking about, an object that you made, or like a data type that you made, or a character. So this is just used to differentiate that. So when you print that out, it just prints out one character. In this case, it should be Q. Yep. And you can't also have more than one character within a char. If you do QA, it crashes. It says invalid character constant, so you can only have one letter within there. Next, next thing is, it's not a non-primitive, it's a non-primitive data type, and it's just a collection. It's an object, and basically the way the object works is a collection of chars put together, and those are called strings. And string, we'll call it st, because s is already taken by the short name. And the way you initialize this is you do quotation marks. And you want to finish that, and within here you can type as much as you want. Right? And then when you print that out, and you do st, it should print out that weird thing I just randomly typed. Yep, and it does. So the thing that we were doing in the first tutorial, the hello world, basically what we were doing is creating a string within that. So hello, when we were doing, oh my god, hello world, we were creating a new string called hello world while it was doing that command. But we can also reference things. We can reference a string and it'll print it out. Yeah. So these are basically all of our data types right here, and this is one of the non-primitive data types that are used often. And that's pretty much it. So hope you guys like this tutorial and see you in the next one. Peace.